Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and culture. My name is Nicky, and on this New Year Hogmanay episode, I am joined, as always, by the man who you wouldn't know to look at him that he's Glaswegian. But oh no, you can when he speaks. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
Very well. Have you been to the Costco and got your...
Have I been to the Costco?
Yeah, to get your beer, wine, gin. Don't forget the pear cider.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I haven't been to the Costco. I left my crisps and dip at the till at Tesco's with a wee lassie with a Santa hat. Unfortunately, that was a schoolboy error. No, I haven't been to the Costco. You're right. I do need to go and stock up. What about yourself? Have you been to the Costco?
No, I have been to the alcohol shop. I went down with Paula's dad, my father-in-law. We're quite an odd sort of couple, I guess, for Dubai. Like a 6'2" kind of pale blue Scottish guy and a 5'8" 81-year-old Jamaican man with a limp. But yeah, we went down last week and we got a few cases of beer that Paula's dad has put a serious dent in one of them already, and some wine and a few bottles of spirits for Christmas. So I don't know about you, but I tend to prefer just nipping down to get what I'm going to drink that night, right? Because if I buy it in bulk, because I know it's there, I'll have a beer at times when I wouldn't normally have a beer. You know what I mean? Like, I've got 72 cans of like San Miguel in the utility room. I'll stick a couple in the fridge. Or if there's wine's the worst thing, because if there's a few bottles of red wine, I can't just have a glass. I need to like do the bottle, and then sometimes I need to go on to the next bottle, and before you know where you are, you've got drank all your Christmas red wine.
Yeah, I think it was the issue, obviously, when I lived in Dubai, just before the place in Gantu had opened. Like, the only other option, obviously I had an alcohol licence, I could go to MMI or A&E, but you take a trip to Barracuda to, more often than not, I would actually get it delivered from this company. Maybe heard about them. I don't know if they're still on the go. It was like Centurus. Yeah. And they would deliver your alcohol. And that was the issue, because you had to order, like, I think it was like 1,000 dirhams worth or something. It was a lot you had to like minimum order. So you would end up getting this delivery of 8 cases of beer and 30 bottles of wine and stuff. And yeah, it's the issue if it's in the house. That's the issue if you live in the Middle East, it is you have to kind of do that. Whereas now I'm back in Europe and, you know, I can just nip to the supermarket and get a bottle of wine. But then the issue with that is that when your wife asks you at 7 o'clock, I quite fancy a bottle of wine, can you nip out? And then I've got to go and trudge to the supermarket and get her a bottle of wine, as I had to do this afternoon. So yeah, that is the issue, I suppose, against having a stock in the house. But I know what you mean. If you have a stock, then you just end up drinking it, and it can be an issue. But you have to, you know, for New Year, you have to get everything in. And I hope you have put the good malt in a cheap bottle of Bell's to hide it from any guests.
The advantages of having like a 5'8" father-in-law means that, and like a 5'1" wife means that all I've got to do is put things at the back of the highest shelf, and they can't even see them. So I've got a couple of bottles of Absolute vodka and a bottle of Monkey Shoulder whiskey. It's quite nice. That
nice. I like Monkey Shoulder. It's a nice whiskey.
And I've got a bottle of Kraken rum. Not Kraken rum, although it is Kraken rum, but Kraken, as in the big octopusy thing, rum. I've got those stashed for Christmas, because I know if they go into Gen Pop, they'll get tanned before Christmas, and I'll have to go and buy them again. So I've stashed them, because I know that my wife's one of these people that if something is out of her, if something's out of view for her for a while, she just forgets all about it. So, but yeah.
Give it a few years and you'll be having to hide the alcohol from the kids.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well. So this is our New Year episode. Did you have a nice Christmas? I'm joking, of course. We're recording this before Christmas, just to let a little light in upon magic. So I guess we'll discuss our Christmases in the next episode. Okay, well, shall we have a look at what's been going on in the news in Scotland in this last week?
Yes, we shall. Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in Scotland this week that you've thought, I just cannot wait to talk about that on the Swally.
Well, have you ever been to the northern Scottish town of Wick?
No, I can't say I have. I'm very aware of Wick, but I've never actually been. No,
I've never been either. I understand it's this kind of coastal place, quite nice. Well, this story comes from the ever trustworthy Scottish Sun from the 9th of December. The headline is "On Our Wick, we escaped Taliban but hated life in depressing Wick. Please don't send us back to Scotland, say Afghan refugees." So this is an Afghan refugee called Hamid Hakimi. He's an ex-British Armed Forces interpreter. They've just moved back to London with his wife. His wife, Miriam, she's only 19. She's pregnant, and he's worried that they might lose the baby because apparently living in Wick in Caithness is so depressing. I mean, apologies to anybody who listening who live in Wick. This is not our opinion because we've never been there. I'm looking at a photograph of Wick and it looks quite nice. So Hamid is still pleading with the Home Office not to send the couple back north, as he told of his gratitude for the help he and Miriam have received in the UK. He said, "We have come back down to London and we're staying with friends, but we don't want to go back to Wick. We're so grateful to the UK for helping us, but we can't live so far away from our support network. I have been contacted by people who want to help us by bringing us halal food, which is very kind, but it won't help our situation. My wife is happy here in London, where she's closer to her relatives in the Afghan community, but we still don't know what the Home Office is planning to do." Hamid last night revealed they decided to pack their bags, travel to London to be closer to friends who are settled in the city. He was at pains to stress how thankful he is to be given sanctuary on UK shores after risking his life helping British frontline troops in Afghanistan. But the former Kabul shopkeeper insists that life in Wick is not the answer. He added, "I am so grateful to the UK government for bringing us here, but the place they moved us to is unsuitable. I don't mean that it's bad," and he doesn't want to offend anybody who lives in Wick. He says, "Wick's a nice place and there are nice people there, but the problem is my wife is lonely there. I've been talking to the Home Office and over again to ask them to please let us stay closer to my friends and family." So they arrived in the UK on the 3rd of August. They were transferred to Wick 3 weeks later. I mean, it's a bit of a random kind of place, you know what I mean? It's a bit random just kind of moving people from the desert to Wick. He says, "In Afghanistan we might die in a month or a year, but in Wick we die every day. My wife is 12 weeks pregnant, but she is still crying all the time. If I go back to my homeland, the Taliban will chop my head off, but I'm afraid if we stay here, our baby will die." The Liberal Democrat Jamie Stone said their situation was very worrying, and the Scottish Nationals MSP Mary Todd added, "I'll do everything I can to support them." A UK government spokesperson said they have helped more than 15,000 people to safety. Said councils have been given £20,500 per person over 3 years to support those starting a new life. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I wonder why they moved to Wick. It's pretty random.
I mean, I think this is more to do with missing friends and family than actually to say I die every day in Wick. Yeah, it's a random place to move someone. It's not the first thought that you would have. Yeah, let's go to Wick, like probably one of the furthest north points. You know, might as well put them on Shetland or
Norway,
Orkney. But it's a bit of a random place to put them in. Wick, from my knowledge, it's not a big place, and I wouldn't imagine. I don't know. I'd need to Google if there's a mosque in Wick and if they're able to get halal food readily available. I don't know. That's a very strange thing. So it does seem an odd place to put them, and I can understand their plight. I think he's been a bit over dramatic saying I die every day in Wick. To be fair, there's worse places to be, but I can understand. But I think it is maybe just a case that he's missing his friends and family and they feel maybe isolated, and I can imagine maybe a small place like that, maybe some of the locals aren't the most welcoming. If I can say that,
not as open-minded as like. Well, I don't imagine it's a particularly diverse place. Wick. I used to live in a little village just outside of Aberdeen called Maud. You know, like my wife is black, West Indian origin. You know, like when I took her to Maud for the first time, like, you don't see anybody who isn't white in Maud. You know, there's a few English people who live there, but they're viewed suspiciously. Most of the people are Scottish and have lived in the village for generations. So I can't imagine, I don't think there's any plans to build a mosque in Maud anytime soon. Can't imagine that Wick Wick is a particularly diverse place. I don't know. I mean, if you're from Wick and it is a diverse place, then get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
Like I say, I can see both sides of the coin. I feel a bit sorry for this gentleman and his wife, and he's obviously worried about his baby on the way, and they're in a strange country. Is it worse than being up against the Taliban, though? I mean, don't know. I would say that we wish the our friend from Wick all the best in London if he's decided to go and settle down in London with his wife, and we wish him all the best, and congratulations on your future child.
Heartfelt. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that's them. Apologies to anybody in Wick taking offence. What's your first story this week?
Well, Greg, my first story is from the Irvine Times this week, and I'm going to talk about one of our favourite subjects. The North Ayrshire Candy Bar is up for Top Pie Award. So this is the Candy Bar Bakery in Ayrshire, which has made the shortlist of the 22nd World Championship Scotch Pie Awards. Did you realise there was a World Championship Scotch Pie Awards?
I didn't know that, and
well, it's in its 22nd year.
And how do you get to be a judge at the Pie Awards?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm going to be sending off my application. So it follows the annual judging day held earlier this month, so December, when over 70 butchers and bakers delivered more than 400 of the nation's best pies for judging by over 50 experts in their field. So there's 50 judges, Greg. Surely we can get into this. The Candy Bar, which has branches in Saltcoats, Kilwinning and West Kilbride, has already won the Big Pie Award in recent years, and they hope to challenge the best in the country to take the title again. Now get this. As always, the judges were looking for pie perfection across entrants in 11 categories. Greg, 11 categories in the Pie Awards. These categories are Scotch pie, football pie and savouries, macaroni pie, steak pie, sausage roll. I don't know if that should be allowed in the Pie Awards, technically. Cold savoury, hot savoury, vegetarian savoury, haggis savoury, bridie, and apple pie. And the winner will be announced at the prestigious launch on January the 18th at the Westerwood Hotel, Cumbernauld, hosted by Carol Smiley.
Wow.
They've got a big one. They've taken out the big guns for the 22nd Pie Awards. Alistair Smith, the chief executive of Scottish Bakers, told the Herald, "It's the first inkling our entrance gets that their pies have been judged so good that we can announce with great pleasure that the Candy Bar has made it through to the finals." So there you go on the January the 18th. So we will announce, well, yeah, it'll probably be into our February episodes before we can actually announce how the Candy Bar got on in the awards. But yeah, they're up for Best Pie. So congratulations. And yeah, I'd love to know how you get to be a judge at these awards.
Well, here's a strange thing, right? Well, I don't know if it's a strange thing, but until I moved to the northeast of Scotland, I had never in my life, I could never have imagined even such a thing as a macaroni pie. And I feel like if I've got any American listeners, I know obviously America has a deep love for mac and cheese. You know, I feel like I feel like a macaroni pie would go down really well in the US, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say I've never had a macaroni pie. However, the next time I go back to Scotland, I'll probably have to have one.
Yeah.
Since I'm not eating meat. I mean, let's face it, if I'm pissed, I'll end up having a Scotch pie. However, I've never had a macaroni pie. The thought of it has always kind of put me off. However, as I say, since I've stopped eating meat, then yeah, I probably would have one if I was sober. Like if I went to the football, I'll probably have a macaroni pie. But like I say, I can guarantee probably in May, at 3 a.m. Who we're kidding, 3 a.m. We won't be out till 3 a.m. We'll be pissed and probably go to the baker's and I'll probably have a Scotch pie and then spend the next day on the toilet. But yeah.
Where a lot of bakers go wrong, I think, macaroni pie, is that what's key to it is the quality of the macaroni. You know what I mean? It needs to be really nice and really cheesy. I mean, I've not had many macaroni pies because there's just something wrong about it, right? Something wrong. It just doesn't. I mean, I don't know who came up with the idea of putting pasta in a pie, but when I have had one, and it's usually been when I've been absolutely hammered, the macaroni is always a wee bit bland. You know what I mean? It's not very cheesy. It's like they've used like a mild cheddar instead of a mature cheddar in the sauce. So yeah, if you're a baker, maybe if Sean Henry's listening, he might want to turn his hand hand to a macaroni pie. And we know that he's a master baker. Just a note, Henry, use mature cheddar. You've got to get don't scrimp.
Why do you think it was a macaroni pie that took off and not like a ravioli pie or something? Why macaroni? Is it so connected with the Northeast, so to speak? I don't know. It seems a strange choice to have. Like, who thought, I've just got this macaroni and cheese left over. You know what? I'm going to put it in a pie. It's a fucking bizarre when you think about it. And I know we have discussed this. I think this is the third time we've spoken about macaroni pies on the Swally. But it's very much a strange thing to put in a pie.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can get a macaroni pie in Greg these days. Greg's the baker's.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it seems to have just sort of slowly spread across Scotland. But I can tell you, when I was a kid in Glasgow, you wouldn't get a macaroni pie. You'd be laughed out the bakers. I'm right in the mood for a pie now. I was already in the mood for a pie from watching our subject matter the other day. Because there's like steak pie features quite prominently in it. But yeah, maybe I'll make a pie at the weekend.
More on the pies later. Well, as I say, the best of luck to Candy Bar. I hope all the best from the Culture Swally at the 22nd World Championship Scotch Pie Awards. And say hello to Carol Smiley from us. Okay, so what else have you seen this week, Greg?
Well, I'm going from one sort of vaguely racist story to another, I'm afraid.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, I know. I try and handle it as delicately as I can. So this story comes from the Daily Record on the 11th of December. I'll just read the headline. Black Bitch Pub naming row sparks rally by furious local over an attack on the Scots town history. So this is Linlithgow, which is a town sort of between Falkirk and Edinburgh. There's an old pub there called the Black Bitch. Been there for many, 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 many years. Well, it's been there since the 7th century. It's now owned by the bar chain Green King, and they've confirmed that they're changing the name to the Black Hound in a bid to make it more inclusive. But the move has sparked fierce opposition from residents of the West Lothian town who have accused hospitality bosses of attacking their history. People born in Linlithgow are affectionately known as Black Bitches in recognition of a historic tale involving a black female greyhound that tried to help its imprisoned owner. I have never heard of people in Linlithgow being called Black Bitch, ever. The fable is immortalised in the town's coat of arms as well as one of its best known high street bars, Black Bitch. But owners, Suffolk-based Green King, have brewed up a storm. I bet the reporter was really pleased with that, after declaring the name has racist connotation. Locals are now set to gather for a demonstration outside the Watering Hole at 12 p.m. on Saturday, December the 11th, which was yesterday, after being bolstered by the support of First Minister Alex Salmond. Obviously, Alex Salmond pariah in Scottish politics, something to get involved in. Joint organiser Murdoch Kennedy told the Daily Record, people in the village are against the whole thing. It's actually now veering towards an attack on our history and a slur on the town. Alex Salmond getting on board was certainly a big boost, and the local MP Martin Day raised it in the House of Commons this week as well. Oh my life. Every little helps, but obviously getting support at that kind of level helps a lot. We're not sure how many people will be coming along today because it's been organised at the last minute. We held a smaller event on Wednesday, which was good. We had lots of people driving past, honking their horn. But it is a bit of an unusual thing to see. I remember Paula's uncle, who is a white guy, who married to Paula's auntie, who's a black lady. I remember when I told him about this pub in Linlithgow, he must have mentioned it to her when they came to visit us at Christmas about 100 times. That there's a pub in Linlithgow called the Black Bitch. I guess we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. My opinion, I don't think it's not going to change the history of Linlithgow by changing the name of the pub. You know, if it means that people aren't going to be left feeling uncomfortable or offended, then I don't know where the harm is. But
I think it's difficult when you have something like this that has so much history in the town, and it's always been called that, and it's difficult nowadays. Obviously, you have to, if it does offend people, then of course you have to change it. You can't have something like that is offending people. But I can see both sides of the coin here. I can see the people that are upset that the town they've lived in all their lives and they've known the pub as the Black Bitch is. I mean, would you really want to say, though, you coming down the Black Bitch tonight? You wanting to go down the Black Bitch?
No, I know.
And go for a pint in the Black Bitch?
Yeah.
Surely no one calls it the Black Bitch. They must call it the Black or the Bitch.
Or the BB.
The BB, maybe. But yeah, let me see the Black Bitch. Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides. It's obviously a historic name, but it's not right though, is it?
No, it's kind of weird. It's more surprising that I'm sure the pub has probably changed hands a number of times in its 300 years, 400 years history. I don't know why. I don't know why no one has changed the name before. Yeah, so I mean, what this guy's saying is the legend of the Black Bitch is woven into the Royal Borough's tradition and has no association whatsoever with racism or sexism. And he makes up a wee word here. He says, it's just Lithgyism. To suggest otherwise is deeply insulting. I was born about 1.5 miles from the Black Bitch Tavern, the oldest pub in town, and well within the sound of St Mike's Bell. When any outside investor comes into an area, they should show respect and sensitivity to local tradition, not trample all over it. When I was first told about the story, I assumed that the pub chain was just attempting to generate publicity in the holiday silly season. However, after a bit of my own research, it seems clear that the company is on something of a guilt kick given the historic involvement in the slave trade of their founder, Benjamin Green. Significantly, there seems to be no proposal to change their own company name. I have suggested to Nick Mackenzie, who's the CEO of Green King, he's the managing director of Green King, that his company should understand that the battle against racism is about respect, and you don't advance that cause by disrespecting local communities. They should instead redouble their efforts in inclusive employment and supporting anti-racist causes, not gratuitously insult an entire town. More than 7,000 people have signed the petition, but the pub bosses remain firm on their plans. Nick Mackenzie said, this is an important decision to take, but we feel strongly that it's the right one. We're changing the pub's name so it continues to recognise the history of Linlithgow, but at the same time addresses the fact current name does cause offence and upset to some people. From the outset, we knew the importance of the name to Linlithgow, and we're not trying to denigrate the town or diminish its history. Sounds like a reasonable chap, Nick Mackenzie.
Okay, well, I'm sure they'll come to a decent solution and they can work it out from there. But someone's going to be upset regardless, as always happens.
Mm-hmm. So, what's your next story?
Well, my second story this week, Greg, comes from a Scots tattoo parlour who had a scathing reply to a ball-bag customer who cancelled in the last minute. So this is from the Archangel 1608 tattoo studio based in Maryhill Road, Glasgow, and it was left furious after a punter cancelled their booking with only a day's notice. A heated argument broke out when the customer messaged the parlour to ask for their tattoo booking to be rearranged. Messaging on November the 26th, the customer said, "Alright mate, I need to move my tattoo from tomorrow as I need to go into work. If you can get me in January then please and give me a date." The tattoo parlour obviously replied saying, "Dude, that's really not enough time to get that filled. Leave it with me and I'll see if I can move anything forward, but if not, then I'm into April, May for appointments already now." Now, that seems fair enough to me, but the punter responded, "Well, you need to get me in before then, as I've already waited 3 months for this, and I'm not going to wait until then. Thanks." The parlour hit back, and "You've given me less than 24 hours notice and no reason or apology for making it. I'm trying to cover my wage here for the day, so if it clears a day, then that'll be the time we can get you in." The customer replied with, "Listen, I've been asked to come into work, and I've just realised that Christmas is coming up. If you can't get me into January," he's just realised Christmas is coming up. "If you can't get me in January, then just refund my deposit. Thanks. I've been waiting 3 months already, so I don't think I should have to wait any longer to get this sorted. So let me know." The parlour obviously responded with, "Are you kidding me? You're cancelling your appointment the day before. I can't just magically arrange another date for you when you've booked so far ahead. As I've said, if I can manage to find someone that can come in with less than 24 hours notice, and then I can fill that appointment for you. If that's not suitable, then you can either come in tomorrow as previously arranged or wait until April or May." Escalating the tension, the customer said, "Stop wasting," and he spelt it waisting, so as in like the waist around his, midriff. "Stop wasting my time, then you fucking idiot, and refund my deposit. I've told you I've decided to work tomorrow, so I won't come in." The parlour replied, obviously as you'd expect, "What the actual fuck? Few things since you're being a cock. 1. How the fuck is it a surprise that Christmas is so soon after the appointment you booked for the last Saturday of November? 2, you being asked to work last minute means that now I can't work. Will I just sit and scratch my arse for the duration of your appointment? 3, you paid a booking fee, not a deposit, so you paid to get booked in, and for the time that I spent arranging the design for you and putting it together. 4, what the fuck makes you think you can just arrange a new date for you? People have also been waiting 3 months for their appointment, so no, if you don't have the common courtesy or decency to apologise for cancelling the last minute, forget it. Actually, I'm not busting my ass for you. Now you've lost your booking fee, I'll send your design to you so you can go somewhere else, and I'll just have a good scratch of my arse tomorrow morning. The customer then threatened back, if you don't send my deposit back, then I'm going to take you to small claims court. The parlour responded with, good luck with that. My legal team, Google, has also told me you don't have a leg to stand on. Also, you should be informed that since I can't cover my time, you've paid £100 for me to actually scratch my arse tomorrow. Who says dreams don't come true? The customer finally replied with, you're a wanker, I hope you're happy. Which the parlour said, not really, I'd rather be tattooing tomorrow instead of half the day, but I've just found out that Christmas is coming. So yeah, so that was a nice little exchange from a customer. I mean, yeah, fair play. The guy cancelling last minute. What amused me was that he's like, I've just realised that Christmas is coming up. Like, it's November. How could you not realise that Christmas is coming up? Like, it's literally taken him by surprise. Like, oh, fuck, Christmas. Oh, I've forgotten that it's always such a surprise when that comes round in December, isn't it?
I know, yeah. I mean, the guy must be, to be, like, for the tattoo artist to be booked up all those months in advance, he must be, like, shit hot. 'Cause there's no shortage of tattoo places in Glasgow. There's millions of them.
Yeah, if he's got, like, 3-4 months advance bookings, then yeah, he's obviously a very good artist. So to cancel the day before and then just say, can you just fit me in January? I find it hilarious. I've just realised he's saying, I've got to go into work tomorrow and I've just realised Christmas is coming up. It's like, really?
Yeah. Oh well.
Never mind.
I mean, I suppose the advantage of working for yourself means you don't have to take any shit off anybody, right?
Yeah, I always like that when businesses fight back like that and can just be like, fuck off, you arsehole. Don't speak to me like that. I think that's lovely. I like to see businesses fighting back. Well, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about this week, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
You can get tenants anywhere, man. The blue and yellow can, man. From off-license shops and the high street store. From pubs and clubs, it's chosen more. Why not try tenants anywhere?
Alright, so I had the privilege of picking our Christmas episode where we had the Crankies Club at Christmas. It was your turn to choose our Hogmanay episode. So what are we going to be talking about?
Well, today, Greg, we are going to be talking about the original pilot episode of Two Doors Down. This was created by Simon Carlyle and Gregor Sharp, and it aired on December the 31st, 2013 on BBC One across the whole of the UK at 9 p.m. Two Doors Down tells the story of Beth and Eric Baird's Hogmanay party as it gets slightly out of control when family, friends and neighbours descend on their home. As the drink flows and the steak pie comes out of the oven, secrets are revealed, tempers fray, scores are settled, and a gazebo gets destroyed. So this was, I think, a very popular show when it aired in December 2013, and it has since spawned 5 series of a spin-off TV show. But we're not going to speak about the TV show here. I mean, I think we're probably not going to be able to help speaking about some elements of it, but we're going to try and concentrate on this original pilot. So, Greg, your first memories of Two Doors Down in 2013. Did you watch it when it went out live or next day or around about that time?
I think I taped it. I taped it. I recorded it on my Sky Plus box and watched it the next day. So I think we probably had people in for Hogmanay that night. I'm pretty sure we did. But yeah, I mean, it was, I guess the sort of Hogmanay tradition was always Scotch and rye and then and only an excuse, and then later on chewing the fat. which are all sketch, obviously all sketch-based shows. This was quite refreshing to have something a bit different and a bit more grounded in reality, you know, for Hogmanay. And I think everyone everyone can relate to Hogmanay house party. You know what I mean? Well, everybody in Scotland certainly can. Anyway.
No, definitely. I was very similar to you. It was kind of a tradition I would have had whenever I went out for New Year. And I think, you know, I've probably been going out for New Year. I think I was thinking about this today. I think it was probably 15. It was like the first time I went out into town on my own. Not on my own, but with friends for New Year. And I would have set the video to record Chewing the Fat or Still Game and Only an Excuse. And then latterly when I moved to Dubai, I still kind of kept up that tradition of on the 1st of January, I would go and download whatever had been on the night before. So I would download the Chewing the Fat or Still Game or and Only an Excuse and watch that. And that's when I'd seen that this show was on. And I think I would have been attracted to it for Jonathan Watson and Greg McHugh because I'd been watching him on Gary and Fresh Meat at the time. I think Daniela Nardini as well because I was a big This Life fan. And of course, Alex Norton. So instantly the cast would have attracted me to this. And I think I'd read about the premise and thought, that sounds good. Because as you say, everyone loves a New Year party. And something that we are quite familiar with in Scotland in this kind of term, this kind of party. So I think I'd watched it the next day and just found it absolutely hilarious. And I remember putting it on a USB and giving it to my mum and my sister and them watching it. And genuinely, I think my mum must have watched this about 15 or 20 times. Two Doors Down. She loved it so much, and she absolutely loved the TV series that followed. But I won't speak about too much. But this is just such a good representation of a Scottish Hogmanay party and what it kind of entails and what goes wrong. I think the series is more of a sitcom, whereas it's almost more of kind of it's not a black comedy, but it's got a few dark tones to it in terms of this show.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of sort of light drama in it for sure. And there's a couple of bits, I guess, that we'll come on to. One bit in particular that's potentially a bit problematic. I mean, essentially, I know we're not going to talk too much about the TV show, and I think the TV show, like a lot of the cast are different. A lot of characters that appear in the pilot don't make it to the TV show. But essentially, the TV show, it almost kind of spins out the same story formula every episode. But it's kind of brilliant the way they do it. I mean, it's like the Bears either invite the neighbours in or they're invaded by the neighbours. And it's, you know, and it's always a bit of an awkward, occasionally confrontational sort of situation. But, you know, like I think we can probably say the characters that didn't make it to the TV show, there's Caroline, played by Daniela Nardini. I don't think she pops up again, right? That there's a guest or anything, does she?
No, not at all. Never mentioned again.
Obviously, the Norwegian neighbours, Henning and Nina. We never see them again. Kevin Guthrie, who plays the son, is replaced by another actor. Who plays Ian, is replaced by another actor for the TV show. That was before he got himself into trouble with the police. And Greg McHugh doesn't come back. His character doesn't come back either for the TV show, which is a bit of a shame, really, because he's got so many good lines in it. Greg McHugh, you know what I mean? His character Tony, is it Tony?
Yeah. Tony, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Tony, yeah.
It's Tony. And of course, the older brother Angus is completely wiped from history as well when it comes to the TV show. So, talk about the cast. You have Alex Norton as Eric and Arabella Beer as Beth, a married couple who are having a New Year's Eve party, a Hogmanay party. And they are, I mean, they're brilliant in terms of this married couple that you kind of believe their little bickering and the way that they're getting on with things. And you have little things like Eric leaving the crisps and the dip at Tesco's till because he was speaking with a wee lassie in the Santa hat. And you get Beth's frustrations in terms of she's wanting to host this New Year's Eve party, but things aren't going quite to plan immediately. And things are going wrong. She just wants everything to be fine because her son Angus is coming back from the army for this New Year's Eve party. And that's what it's all building up to, really, is Angus coming back.
Yeah, everyone's excited for Angus, even Auntie Caroline, Kathy the neighbour. When Kathy first arrives, one of the first things that she asks Beth is if as if Angus is here. And when Beth says he's not here yet, her face just falls.
Yeah, so you get the impression everyone loves Angus, and it's a shame because we only actually get to see Angus for like 2 minutes, really, towards the end of the show. But obviously he is a big presence in the overall show in itself. So the first 2 guests to arrive at the party are Beth and Eric's son, Ian, and his new boyfriend, I think he's a newish boyfriend, Tony, played by Greg McHugh, as you also mentioned. Now, Ian in this is played by Kevin Guthrie, who I think we could legally say at the moment is probably the reason that this episode isn't on BBC iPlayer at the moment, because he is currently serving a conviction for sexual offences. And I should point out, at this point, we can legally say he has been convicted, so that's the reason why. I know he's appealing, so if later down the line he is quashed and this episode comes out, I just want to legally cover our arses in terms of saying that. So that's the reason this episode is probably no longer available on iPlayer and YouTube. I think it is available on Amazon and iTunes if anyone wants to go and watch it. So they arrive and instantly kind of find out that their son Ian is gay. And I think this is quite an interesting way that it's portrayed throughout the show. And again, need to be careful the way that we talk about this, I think, in terms of what we're saying. But I think it's handled really well. In this show as well. It's never a big issue in terms of, and remember, this is 2013, but for some people it is a slight issue, but others it isn't. So for example, when his Auntie Caroline comes down, her first words are, "Come here, you big poof." And you're instantly like, okay, this is good. It's everyone's at ease, everything's fine, and I think it's handled very well. And we're not going to speak about Ian and Kevin Guthrie's character too much, I think, but as you mentioned earlier, Greg McHugh as Tony, he is fantastic in this. He has got some of the best lines, and his delivery of his performance is so good when he's a little bit peckish, and the way he's talking about that. And I think one of my favourite bits is when he's helping Eric put the gazebo up, and it is the kind of inane chatter you would have with your partner's father, you know, when you're first going out and you're kind of struggling for things to say, and he's like, gazebo, that's a funny word, isn't it? It's like tout.
No, the thing is, he's sort of the template for all the other 2 boyfriends that Ian has in the series proper. You know, they Jazz, I can't remember his current boyfriend's name, I've forgotten it, the English guy. Gordon, yeah. But he's kind of, you know, his reaction to the madness that's going on around him, you know, the sort of fallibles and nuances of these quite eccentric characters. He's almost the audience in terms of how he reacts, and we see it, you know, do you know what I mean? But he just brings such good value to everything, Greg McHugh. He really does. He's a great actor. He's hilarious actor, hilarious comedy actor.
But it's also natural as well. It's so funny. I know we've spoken about him in Gary Tank Commander before, and as I say, around about this time, he was in Fresh Meat as, I can't remember his character's name in Fresh Meat now. It might have been Hugh, or I can't remember. He's a brilliant comic actor, and as I say, he's so good in this, the way he just plays, as you say, it's kind of the audience's eye into this madness of the party. So the 4 of them are there, and then of course Caroline comes down, Auntie Caroline, played by Daniela Nardini. Again, this was a big name because I think we've spoken about this life before in this podcast, when I think it was when we were speaking about Tony Curran before, because he was in a few episodes of this life, and I'm a big fan, but you'd never really watched it. So
no.
Daniela Nardini was one of the main characters in this life, and I think I just finished watching it for maybe the 3rd time when this came out. So I was kind of fresh off, and her character in this life is just fantastic. And I really like her as an actress, but to be honest, in this, she plays the role really well, but I could have kind of done without her.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Her career has been a bit of an unusual one anyway, because even though I didn't watch This Life, it made her like a household name. You know what I mean? She seemed to come from pretty much nowhere to being like a massive television star. But then she sort of, I'm trying to think who a comparable actress, you know, maybe someone like, what's the English actress called that she was in that Friends type thing? Well, she was in Friends as well. She plays Ross's English girlfriend that...
Helen Baxendale.
you know, like because she's obviously she's like a big star. She became like quite a big television star as well, round about the same time. Because I think she was in Cold Feet. That's the show that I was trying to think of, and then obviously Friends and everything. But yeah, Danielle Nardini seemed to, you know, I'm looking at her IMDb. She turns up in a very small part in Sunshine on Leith as the chef who's signing a copy of her book. You know, they brought her back for the 10-year anniversary of This Life in 2007, and then she's in Waterloo Road, the kind of long-running BBC kind of school drama that's not Grange-Hill. Obviously, she turns up in Bob's Servant as well, that we did a few episodes ago. But yeah, she's not. Of
course,
you know, you would have thought, if you think about Andrew Lincoln, who's also in This Life, and he's gone on. You know, I guess The Walking Dead is what's really kind of made him really. But yeah, a strange sort of career that she's had.
This is where the show kind of goes into the two separate paths almost. Then you get to meet the youngsters. And it's the wonderful Sharon Rudy who plays Sophie. And I was already familiar with her before this because I watched there was a show she was in. I don't know if you've ever watched it, called My Mad Fat Diary.
I never
Channel 4.
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
I can genuinely recommend it, mate, because it's got Jodie Comer in it as well, a young Jodie Comer, but it's all set around Britpop.
Right.
So it's all Britpop music, and I think one of the big build-ups to one of the episodes is they're going to go and see Oasis at Nebworth. So it's all set in the 90s, but it's all in a background to Supergrass and, you know, Oasis and Blur. It's a great show. So I was familiar with her in that. And that's set in Manchester. So she has a Manchester accent. So when she pops up in this, I was like, holy fuck, she's actually Scottish. Hey. And she delivers a great performance as well and of course, knowing what you know now, once you've seen the series, that she's Christine's daughter, for example. But in this, you just get the impression her parents are away. She's got an empty. She's invited her mate over. And did you recognise her mate as well?
No, I didn't.
She's in the Angel Share. She's the girl, I can't remember the character's name now, but she's the girl from the Angel Share that steals the whiskey and stuff, part of the main core 4, So she's got an empty, so she invites her friend round and she's all excited. They got a bottle of wine, and then her mates invited the 2 blokes that she met on the bus. And that's the kind of thing that would happen when you were that age and you'd be having like an empty or something. It would just random people would turn up.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, I would never have dared have a party in my mother's house when I was left my own devices. I just wouldn't never have risked it. I would never have been allowed to do it. Anyway, but just with the mates that I had back in those days, it was just, the house would have got fucking ruined and I'd have been murdered, I'd been killed.
I was more than happy to go round to friends' houses when they were having a party, but I would never have dared. I mean, I remember one of the first parties I went to when I was like 14, and it was with people that were maybe like 16, 17, 18, you know, school party.
Yeah.
I'd been in the school plays, so that's why I was kind of hanging around with the older kids. And I remember going to this party and just being amazed at the stuff that was going on. I mean, literally the bathroom door got taken off its hinges and people were using it as a slide to go down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, instantly you're like, yeah, no. The dog was getting fed vodka jelly shots. Like, that's not something I ever would want to be a part of in terms of having that going on in my house. I'd have been absolutely killed.
Yeah.
So, no. So I can totally see Sophie's point. And of course, they want to get more booze, but hey, they haven't got any more booze, so let's gatecrash the neighbours party.
I mean, I remember, I think I might have mentioned this when we did the Braveheart episode of the podcast, but I remember being invited to a house party. My friend from school, Paul Massey, like, him and his brother were home alone. It was just the two of them with their mum, and the mum was away overnight, so. But I think so. Paul had a sanctioned gathering, and I think there was maybe about 12 of us. It was like it was an all-nighter anyway, and we had rented some videos. We had like a few cases of like Spar brew. You remember you could buy like 24 bottles for like $2.99 or a $5 or something.
Yeah.
We had tons of beers. Everybody was fucking absolutely hammered. And then I remember sort of being locked in the toilet with another couple of guys, and they had nicked a couple of bottles of Paul's mum's wine, and they were trying to get the cork out, and sitting in there drinking the wine. Like I fell over at one point in the kitchen, and I put my hands out, and my hands went through a kind of plastic bucket. I've still got a scar. I've got a scar in my right hand between my pinky and my ring finger because I sliced it there, and like I just sort of like wrapped it up with like kitchen roll or something and got on with it. It was just carnage. Like the next day, like the house was fucking trashed. Paul's younger brother Tony was dreading his mum coming back because we had fucking taxed a couple of bottles of her wine, and we just, I mean, I feel terrible, and I don't think Paul listens. I'm still in touch with him. I'm sure I must have apologised to him many times since, but publicly. Really sorry, Paul. I wasn't the worst behaved person there. There was a lot worse than I. But yeah, and then we just got up in the morning and fucked off and left them to it. No one like helped them to tidy up or anything. It was just just fucked off and left this bloody trail of destruction.
But obviously, Sophie's too responsible to have the party. So I mean, we cut back to Eric and Beth's, and I think this is where we get to meet probably the two best characters in this episode, apart from Greg McHugh as Tony, is Kathy and Colin, played by the wonderful Jonathan Watson and the wonderful Doon McKeegan. I think that is how you pronounce her surname. I'm not 100% sure, but I've watched a couple of YouTube videos. I think it's McKeegan. Okay. And Colin and Kathy are just the type of people they are the kind of they think they're better than they are, the aspirational kind of couple. Like they think they're above their station and showing off and want to think they're a cut above everyone else, but they're not really, and I think it shows when, for example, Colin speaking to Eric about this beautiful malt whiskey that he had, and it was very peaty, but a dash of Diet Coke, it was smashing. Like, okay, so you don't understand the value of a good whiskey, for example, if you're mixing it with Diet Coke. But as characters, they are just fantastic in terms of the comedy value you get out of them and the one-liners they deliver.
Yeah, she's hilarious. Doon McKeegan, or I'll just call her Kathy because it's easier to say.
Let's call her Kathy or Doon. Yeah.
She's like, especially with poor Nina, the Norwegian neighbour who's pregnant. We say, "Oh, shut up, Nina." She's trying to get her to have a drink and all that.
But yeah, it's when Henning and Nina come in, and of course the Norwegian neighbours, and obviously Kathy is taking a shine to Henning, and it sums Kathy up when she says, "Get Henning a whiskey. She's pregnant. Just get her a wine."
Where she says something about how it's a nightmare being pregnant. It's just one pish after another. Yeah, I mean, like if you think about it, like the cast, like most of the cast are like sort of comedy heavyweights. Obviously she was in Smack the Pony. Sort of female-led sketch show. Arabella Weir was in the Fast Show. Yeah. Jonathan Watson, obviously from Only an Excuse, Naked Video, and then Greg McHugh. So, you got, like, for dramatic art, like, more traditionally dramatic actors like Daniela Nardini, just sort of having the kind of lock horns. The actor who perhaps isn't particularly well known for comedy roles, apart from being in Two Doors Down, but yet whose comic timing and his like reaction and how he sort of spars with these other actors is Alex Norton, because
he is, and I think he plays that very well. Yeah. And I would agree he is probably not best known for his comedy acting, but I think in his younger days, if you think about, and I know he had smaller roles, but we've covered him in, for example, Gregory's Girl and Comfort and Joy. Yeah. I think he learned his chops from Bill Forsyth in terms of the comedy. And to be fair, even the characters he plays in those films, it is kind of almost a deadpan delivery of acting, which is maybe where he's learned to be the straight man. But of course, he did Taggart for so many years. Yeah. And I read an interview that effectively after Taggart ended, he decided that's it. I'm going to retire now. Like, I've had enough. And it was actually Two Doors Down that kind of took him out of retirement because he thought, this will be fun. Yeah. It's something simple. It's easy. It's a laugh. So that's the only thing he really does now is Two Doors Down. And to be fair, he's in his mid-70s. So I think this kind of took him out of retirement almost. But as you say, he is the straight man, really, in this whole thing. And he plays it so well, his delivery. It's the facial expressions and the way he plays off, I think, Jonathan Watson as well. It's, you know, it's so good. And he's got a hell of pipes on him when he sings Rhinestone Cowboy.
It does. I was going to say that. Yeah, he's a pretty good chanter.
Yeah. Certainly is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of brings a bit of gravitas to the show, you know, because him and Arabella Weir, you know, like you immediately buy them as a couple. I know she's a bit younger, Arabella Weir, than Alex Norton, but you know, and I guess as the part's written, you know, what she says to him, she says, "All I asked you to do was," and then she runs a big list of things. Like that.
Do you know what I've done? I've left him lying at the till.
Oh, you're kidding me on.
No, I was wishing a happy new year to the wee lassie with the Santa hat.
Oh, Eric.
Oh, what's going on?
He's went and left the crisps and dips up by the till at Tesco's.
Well, it's not my fault. It was the wee lassie with the Santa hat. She just started chatting to me.
Eric, all you had to do was go to the Costco, pick up the gazebo, drop the flowers off at the cemetery, nip into Superdrug and get me a pair of tights, and then go to Tesco's and get 5 packets of kettle chips, a big bag of hula hoops, and some of that peri-peri hummus.
What's happening?
It's a nightmare.
What?
It's no crisps.
Later on in the series, you know, I guess that, you know, I think her character sort of changes a wee bit. She's not as sort of confrontational, I think, in the series as she is in the pilot.
No.
You know, that she puts up with a lot. I mean, but when her patience does run out in the TV show, it kind of, it's all the more effective because it really happens, you know, whereas in this one, she's quite quick to anger.
Yeah, and I think you do need that in terms of there are points where she has a go at Eric, and that's when you get, I guess, the backstory about Angus going off to the army and her really not wanting him to. And then you are right in terms of when, to skip ahead, when Henning is locked in the toilet.
Yeah.
And she's trying to break the door down, and she sort of turns to Nina and was like, "You give it a go." You know, heavily pregnant woman. The character would never say that, Beth, in the TV series.
Yeah.
Like, would never do that.
She's much nicer, isn't she? That was the scene that I was going to say, not with Beth and Nina trying to get the bathroom door open, but more what is going on in the bathroom. You know what I mean? When Henning's passed out and Caroline's, you know, I mean, she's essentially forcing herself on him. On an unconscious Henning, she's like slipped his Y fronts down, and she's mounted him, as they say later on.
Mount him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is extremely problematic. I would completely agree. And quite uncomfortable. And when you're watching it, you're thinking, this isn't right. This isn't funny. I don't think this is really what we should be watching. So yeah, I agree. That is probably the one part of the show that isn't that great, but it does lead to a very funny part, which we can speak about later on. Definitely. In terms of so you have the whole party set up. So Henning and Nina, the Norwegian neighbours, come round, and then kids come round, Sophie and her friend, and the 2 guys you met on the bus. So they're all at the party, and you get the wonderful line in terms of Henning, the Norwegian, and they're speaking about their experiences in Scotland. And I do love the line when he says that Nina, they're speaking about the Tartan Army and how famous they are over the world and well loved, and Henning says, Nina helped a man in the street. He was wearing a flag and lying in the gutter choking on his own vomit. And you're like, that's the Tartan Army. That's the wonderful. And you do wonder, is that the depiction that they have of the Tartan Army the world over, in terms of, it's just men out partying, lying in the street choking on their own vomit?
I think it's probably is true, because, you know, we're fairly, you know, I think we go to watch football and we have a good time. You know, we sample the local food and drink, perhaps a bit more so the drink than the food, perhaps. But and it's a sort of strange sort of choice to make, to put a Norwegian couple into this whole ensemble, you know? It's just kind of, I mean, of Norway of all places, you know.
I think it can help to show up obviously the Scottish, not stereotypes, but it helps with a few things. So in terms of, I think it helps to shoehorn in a few elements, if that makes sense. So of course they can ask, is Henning a true Scotsman, because he comes in wearing his kilt, and so that gets that across. Because remember, this went out nationwide. So this went out to England as well. And I'm not saying English are ignorant in terms of the Scottish traditions and the ways, but this was a big thing, this going out. In terms of the whole of the country. So I think it helped to get things like that over, and it helped to get maybe a few other jokes in terms of obviously the as we've said about the Tartan Army, the man had own vomit, and then, you know, one of my favourite parts is when Henning starts saying, no more pastry. Why does it got to be so much pastry in Scotland? And it's very true, you know, to say when they mention the steak pie and stuff. He's like, no, I can't have any more pastry. I've been saying to the university, why does everything have to have pastry?
No, I think you're right. I think, obviously, you know, having lived in England, people have New Year's Eve parties in England as well, but I think in Scotland we have perhaps a bit more tradition around it, other than just getting people together for a drink and something to eat for New Year. So I suppose exactly like you say, the Norwegian couple are a way of sort of explaining how we like to celebrate New Year, you know, north of the border.
Well, that's it, because as Kathy says, you know, we celebrate Christmas, but, you know, New Year's kind of the bigger thing.
Yeah.
And that's why always been one of my favourite things, and it's always fascinated people when I've told them that in terms of, you know, the 2nd of January is a public holiday in Scotland. Yeah. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, we actually gave up Easter Friday. Because Easter Friday is not a public holiday in Scotland.
No.
So we've been like, fuck Jesus, let's have New Year an extra day. Obviously Scotland and England have to have kind of the same set amount of public holidays. Mm-hmm. So we gave up Good Friday and transferred it to the 2nd of January. So we get 2 days off after New Year, because Hogmanay is such a big occasion in Scotland.
Because we need it. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, like, literally, some people's New Year's Eve, some people would be celebrating New Year's Eve, like, well into the 2nd of January. You know what I mean? There would just be parties, you know, so you might go to a couple of parties on New Year's Eve, then you would go and first foot a few people after the bells. So you might be out until, like, well into the following afternoon. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, I mean, it doesn't seem to be quite there's so much now, but certainly when I was a wee boy, I can remember people turning up at like 4 o'clock on New Year's Day in the afternoon, like with a bottle in their hand, wish us Happy New Year, see if there was anything to eat, you know, have a couple of drinks, and then on to the next place.
Oh, I mean, I remember my grandmother, she lived with 2 of my uncles, like towards the end. 2 of my uncles, they'd kind of, one had never been married, the other one had been divorced, and they just kind of looked after her and for a good few years. And every New Year, they would get in a 24-pack of McKeon's Export, a 24-pack of Tennant's, a 24-pack of Kestrel, a couple of bottles of whiskey, and a couple of bottles of vodka. And that was for people coming round, like first footers. And hardly anyone came, but when people did come round, they would stay for 6-7 hours. So you had to have all that in your arsenal for, you know, if you did have guests, because if you had someone come round, you didn't have anything in, then you're kind of fucked. It's not the done thing. So yeah, it was very much it's a big tradition, in Scotland New Year. I don't know about nowadays, but it used to be anyway.
My granny, 1 year before I was born, she was having a Hogmanay party, and she used to be able to like hire, you could rent glasses from like the local pub. So if you knew you were going to have a lot of people, so she had rented like whatever, like a couple of dozen different types of glasses, and her thing was always everybody needs to be standing up for the bells to toast the New Year.
Okay.
And my uncle Donnie was absolutely plastered, like early on, and she kept saying, he better be standing up for the bells, he better be up for the bells. And so my other uncle and his mate, just a couple of minutes to 12, got Donnie up on his feet, put a glass in his hand, and when he went to raise his glass to toast the New Year, he fucking toppled over into all the glasses that that were all arranged on the table.
Oh no!
That my granny had rented, and I broke quite a lot of them. Granny was absolutely furious.
You see, I don't remember steak pie being a massive New Year tradition. but obviously it is.
Yeah, we always had steak pie.
I wonder if it's a Central Belt thing. We never had it up in Aberdeen.
It might be. We used to have our steak pie after the bells, so we would.
Okay.
Like I know in the show they're having it on New Year's Day, but we used to always have it after midnight. So we would have our steak pie. And then go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Wow, full of steak pie.
Full of steak pie, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, it was never a thing in my household, so I don't know. That's why I wonder if it is like a Central Belt kind of tradition. But obviously I know about it now, but yeah, it's never been a huge thing in our household. But poor Beth has cooked this massive steak pie, and then everyone's kind of hungry, and that's another great part of this show is the pie chant. But everyone's chanting, and poor Eric just comes in. He's so excited, and he's chanting, pie, pie, pie.
Yeah, and Tony's trying to, he's trying to clap in time to everybody else, but he keeps...
So yeah, poor Beth has to cook the steak pie. Yeah, but hey, if you're having a party, surely you would have had other food rather than crisps and dip that he'd left at Tesco's. Because when she's handing out the tangerines earlier on, you're thinking, you can't have a New Year's Eve party without having some food, like even sausage rolls or something, but all she's had really was the crisps and dip that Eric's left at Tesco's.
I don't, but you sort of get the feeling that she doesn't want it to get out of hand, so she hasn't put on a load of food and everything. It was only going to be crisps. Because I mean, if Paula doesn't want people to spend too long if they come round, she doesn't put anything out, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought that, I kind of got the feeling that she wanted like to have the house, for the legendary Angus coming back, the prodigal son, and just have it to herself, have them to herself.
No, I can see that maybe. I think, and of course, it wasn't expecting quite as many guests because obviously the youngsters turn up and they're tanning the beer as well, try to fill their pockets. They do provide quite a good element in terms of the two lads when they're out stuffing their pockets, and he's like, you see those two boys inside? Gay. And I think, as I say, I mentioned it in my intro, but we have to speak about the line from Jonathan Watson when he is speaking about Tony's character. And when he does say you'd never know to look at him.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kathy.
Oh, sorry, Kathy. No, you've not met, have you? This is Tony. Tony is Ian's partner.
Hiya.
Eric, for God's sakes, how many years have we known Kathy and Colin?
It's all right, Eric, we'll know.
Oh, God, I knew for years, even when he was a wee boy.
Anyway, so Tony is Ian's partner.
Pleased to meet you, Tony.
Hi, Tony. God, Eric, you wouldn't know, would you? Looking at him.
Pleased to meet you.
No, you can when he speaks. Is that your car outside, is it?
I almost felt bad about laughing at that as hard as I did, but it is very funny. But I don't know, is it wrong to laugh at that?
I don't think so. I mean, because you're not laughing at Tony, you're laughing at Colin's kind of ignorance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's fine. I think you're all right. I think you're in the clear.
Okay. I guess the other hugely funny moment of this that we burst out laughing is when Caroline goes through the gazebo. So she has to escape through the bathroom window after her attempted rape of Henning.
Yeah.
And she's on the rooftop and there's only one place she can go. So she just literally goes right through this gazebo that Eric has spent all afternoon putting up, but Tony managed to put up in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just the comedy of just the literal just voomph of right through it.
Yeah, and it seems to sober her up a bit because she's really cagey for the next few minutes of the show, obviously until Nina attacks her for trying to mount Henning. You know what I mean? She turns down. Oh no, the steak pie is before, isn't it? Yeah, I was going to say she turns down the steak pie, but
I know that's it's after she's gone through the gazebo.
Yeah,
because she comes in and she's looking a bit worse for wear.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's why I love to jump about a bit, but that's why I love Kathy's character so much, because and it's a testament to Doone's acting performance as this hour unfolds. And I mean, they don't come in until maybe the first 15 minutes in, maybe.
Yeah.
But as this unfolds, you can see her just getting more out of control and more drunk. And she delivers that wonderful line that I love when I think Tony says something funny to someone. I can't remember what it is he says, but he says something and Kathy laughs and she says, "Oh, you're one of those, aren't you?"
Are you getting up to do us a song, Nina?
Do Bjork, Nina.
Bjork! Do you hear that? good sense of humour, that boy, actually, don't you, son? You're one of the ones, aren't you? Seem as dull as shite when you meet you, but quite funny when you get to know you.
And you could see that's her getting progressively... when she's cutting up that steak pie, she's a woman pished and possessed.
Yeah.
Brilliant in terms of her drunken performance as this progresses.
She's funny when she's talking about the Lexus and how it's a hybrid. She's like, and Colin saying, oh, it's really quiet. And she's like, yeah, I ran over a dog. I killed a dog last week because it never heard me coming. And Colin goes, really efficient. Oh yeah, killed it stone dead really quick. Or something like that. I mean, like the whole... and when Eric discovers the knackered gazebo, when they go out to hear the ships in the Clyde pulling their horns for the bells, and he's like, it doesn't occur to him that like his sister-in-law has just like jumped into it.
Oh, why would you?
Immediately, exactly. He immediately blames Tony because
Of course, the funny part about that is when Tony does put it up, Eric's first thing to him is like, if Beth asks, I did this.
Yeah.
And yeah, as soon as it goes wrong, then no, it was nothing to do with me.
Yeah, Tony did it.
To talk about the music at the party, I was actually quite disappointed.
Oh, really?
With one thing, because they were almost on a perfect run. I don't know if you were aware or you listened to the music that they played at their New Year's Eve party.
I heard them play Deacon Blue, and they played like the very beginning of Faith by George Michael.
That was disappointment. They were on a fucking great run. So this was the run. I made a note of every song that was played because when it got to the third song, I was like, hey, they're doing something here. They're playing a pattern, and then it got disjointed. So they played Danny Wilson, Aztec Camera, Deacon Blue, Fairground Attraction, Rod Stewart, Steelers Wheel, The Proclaimers, but they spoiled it by midway through the party playing Fergal Sharkey, and then they played a bit of George Michael. And I was like, damn it, it was almost so good. It was almost a whole Scottish, and that would have been the kind of thing you would get at a New Year's party.
Yeah.
It would be all Scottish songs you would play, and that is a fucking brilliant playlist. I mean, hey, the Fergal Sharkey and even the George Michael, it's a good playlist still, but it was almost a perfect Scottish playlist.
Yeah, no, a really good playlist. I need to think about, I don't know, have you got any plans for Hogmanay this year?
No, nothing much. I mean, our Hogmanay is kind of buggered now that we've got the dog. In terms of fireworks, it's not the best thing because he does get a little bit agitated with the fireworks. Sure. He doesn't get scared. Mm-hmm. He gets annoyed.
Right.
He's not scared of the fireworks. He's pissed off that someone's fucking making a noise outside. So he goes and barks at the door. But it's nothing to do with... I know a lot of dogs will shake and shiver and hide under the bed and stuff. No, he's front and centre barking at the fucking lights like, fuck off, you cunts. But yeah, I feel bad leaving him. So no, nothing planned. I think we'll just probably stay in this new year and that'll be about it. What about yourself? You getting a steak pie on the go?
Yes, I think I will do a steak pie.
Oh, very nice.
For Hogmanay. And no, I mean, I haven't gone out for Hogmanay since 2005 into 2006. No, tell a lie. 2002 was the last time I went out. I always just go to house parties for Hogmanay, but last year we didn't do anything. We just stayed in and watched like the fireworks at the Burge on the telly, and then went to bed.
It used to be such a big thing though, part of my life in terms of New Year. I would say between the ages of 15 to maybe about 23, 24, it was like a massive thing.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, maybe even longer than that. But now I'm just like, they'd be arsed. Does it matter?
I remember one year you and our mutual friend bought a case of lager each, and because I lived close to Union Street, we left it at my house during the day, went out drinking all day in Union Street for the bells and everything, and then came back to mine to collect your beer at like 1 or 2 in the morning and off to the next adventure.
Yeah, I seem to remember. I've got very hazy memories of that night, but maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just...
You and my New Year's hazy.
I'm like you. It's not... it's one of them, innit? I think I would probably enjoy New Year more if I was at home in Scotland, I think. You know what I mean? Like here, I don't know, it's, like in the Middle East, it's... I mean, they do celebrate it, as you know, but it's not quite the same, It sort of needs to be a bit cold so you can get like a jumper on and stuff and be warm, and it just... I think I miss some of the traditions of New Year, and watching this episode of Two Doors Down did make me a bit nostalgic and maybe even a wee bit homesick just for New Year,
Yeah, I have to admit, it did make me a little bit kind of homesick in terms of the nice house parties I remember. More from when I was younger, I would say, of my mum maybe taking me around to a neighbour's house and they would be having a party and just the kind of memories of stuff like that. And that's why I really like this show, because it's realistic. And okay, maybe not the sister-in-law raping the Norwegian neighbour in the bathroom and then going through the gazebo, but the rest of it is very realistic in terms of kind of the house party you would have, I think.
When your mum would take you to the neighbours, would somebody give you a wee snowball to drink for the bells? Wee shandy?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, I remember being quite young and my mum giving me like a peach schnapps and lemonade for the bells. I say young, maybe like 11, 12. Yeah. I'm not speaking about like 4 or 5, but yeah, I seem to remember mum would give me that for Hogmanay for the bells. I guess you figured it's peach schnapps and lemonade's hardly going to turn him into being a hardcore alcoholic that I am nowadays. So, but little did she know. I think that's why it's kind of a wonderful, realistic thing, because this was all shot in a crammed, medium-sized living room. There wasn't a big set built. It was literally done in the living room of a house. Yeah. And I've read some of the cast kind of comments and saying that 20 of them, like including the crew, crammed in this little living room, filming them for 12 hours a day, like filming this series. So I can imagine it must have been a little bit uncomfortable in that kind of setting, very claustrophobic.
I mean, I think it looks, I could be totally wrong. I mean, it's obviously, it's not the same house, the same street or anything that they use for the TV show, but it looks like it might be like Mulgai or Bear's Den or somewhere like that, you know?
No, when they moved to the TV show, because obviously we've spoken about the TV show quite a lot, so on the back of this special, there was a series commissioned, because this 1 hour, and it was just meant to be a one-off special. It got such a great reaction on social media and from the critically acclaimed that a series was actually commissioned. And this series debuted on the 1st of April 2016. And as we speak now, Series 5 has just finished on the BBC. At the midway point, they only actually got to film 3 episodes of Series 5 because Alex Norton got COVID and Joy McAvoy, who is one of the characters later added to the series, went into birth during the filming of one of the episodes. So they had to take a break, right, and they're going to film the last 3 episodes early in the year. So we'll get that later on. So yeah, I mean, it's run for 5 series since this episode, so it's been a massive success, and I think we will do some of the series on the podcast later on, but it's genuinely been a show that's really well received. My wife absolutely loves this show. I think we've been round at my mum's. My mum had mentioned Two Doors Down, and my wife had said, "Oh, I need to watch this." And I was like, "I don't know if you'll like it." And I put it on one day for her. I think I went to go and play golf. And I was like, "Look, here's Two Doors Down." And I came back and she'd watched like 3 series.
Oh, my life.
In the 4 hours I've been off to watch golf. She'd watched, like, she's like, it's amazing. I can't stop watching it. So yeah, she absolutely loves it. So it was it's a show that really has kind of just taken off, and people really do love it, and quite rightly so. It's just very Scottish and it's very natural, and it's just it's a great show.
Yeah, it is great. It's really good. And like, it's sort of, you know, sometimes like these things can run out of steam a wee bit, but I think because they're not just sort of churning it out, you know, like in the way that sometimes like American comedies, they'll do like 28 episodes in the series and all that kind of thing. Because, you know, it's not even every year. It's every couple of years they do a new series. So like even the later episodes have just as many like hilariously funny moments as the early episodes.
It's as you said though, I think that earlier on, every episode in this sitcom run, it's one thing. And that's the hook for the episode. Yeah. And that's what the episode completely revolves around, but they find a way to work it round. So, for example, Eric's colonoscopy, or in the most recent one, the whole episode literally is around about a vegetable curry. But they managed to work 30 minutes of comedy into the fact that Beth is cooking a vegetable curry. The very first episode is, the whole premise is that Beth's freezer, Eric left the freezer door open when he was pissed. He came in cooking chips and he left it open and all the food spoiled. Every episode, if you look at it, is just one simple hook and they just build that round. And that's some of the best sitcom episodes, and that's why it works, because it's so simple and they just make it work. And it's a wonderful series, and would never have happened without this pilot. And genuinely, I will go back and watch this again, probably at New Year, because it's just a wonderful reminder of New Year in Scotland.
So, Schwell, on that note, shall we put it through the Swally Awards?
Why not? Let's do it then, Greg. Do you have some awards this week?
Yeah, I do.
Have any last time for the Crankies?
Yeah, I do. I got awards this week. Okay, so the Ewan McGregor gratuitous nudity category. I mean, like, it's sort of Henning, really, and it's not particularly gratuitous. You know?
I generally put none for this, and you know that I am a kind of stickler for sniffing out a cock in a box or something, but no, I have put nothing for this. There's no nudity. Henning, yeah, you see his upper thighs, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So there's no nudity in this, so it's family friendly from that aspect.
Beth sees his bits because she has to ask Nina to cover them up.
That's true, yes. But we don't see that.
We don't see them. The James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. It's kind of Alex Norton, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it's Alex Norton. Yeah.
I mean, we could have maybe made a bit of a case for Kevin Guthrie, but I think he's sort of done himself out of it by being a convicted criminal.
I would say Jonathan Watson more than Guthrie. So, yeah, but no, it's Alex Norton. I mean, the Swally tally does not lie.
And then the Francis Begbie Award for swearing. What did you have?
What did you go for this? There's a few, but
I sort of struggled, to be honest, to find something kind of worthy, kind of Begbie-ish, you know? I feel like Elaine C. Smith's character in the later episodes would sort of win it every time, you know?
Okay.
Where did you go?
Well, for me, a clear winner is Kathy, and it's when she's dishing up the steak pie, and she asks Eric for a fish slice.
Would you like your picture taken with me in the pie, Mr. Beard?
No, you're fine, son.
Eric, could you get us a fish slice? This draining spoon's a shite.
Just pour my...
It's the pronunciation of the word shite, and the action she puts into it as she puts down the serving spoon that just absolutely makes it for me, and that's the best use of swearing in the show. It's the way she does it. It's the whole action that goes with it. That won it for me. I loved it.
The archetypal Scottish moment. There's quite a lot in there.
Yeah, there's a lot. What did you plump for in the end?
I had put steak pie for New Year, but then you're telling me that it's not as big a thing in the up in Aberdeenshire. So it's maybe it can't be an archetypal Scottish moment. Maybe it's an archetypal Central Belt moment. What did you go for?
Well, I put steak pie purely because I know it's a big Scottish thing in Central Belt. But then I put a slash and put the music as well, in terms of you're having a New Year's party, and okay, they slip in a little bit of Fergal Sharkey and a bit of George Michael, but the rest of the music is Scottish. There's so much though. You could put the single malt, you could put Henning in his kilt, no more pastry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an archetypal Scottish moment, because obviously we love pastry, but yeah, I think the steak pie or the music kind of would win it for me.
Or the boys filling their pockets with cans. It's maybe something a bit Scottish about that, you know. And then the Sean Connery Award, this is a hard one, I think, because there's cases for almost everybody that's in it.
Yeah, I would say so. Genuinely, one of my first instincts would have been Greg McHugh.
Yeah.
Because he's so great in it, but I can't go past Doon.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
You know, Doon is Kathy. I think if I could give it to both her and Jonathan Watson as the double act, because they are so good, but it's Kathy. She just steals it. She's so good. And like her rant at the end as they're walking home is just so well delivered. I think she wins it for me. I genuinely think Arabelle Weir and Alex Norton are brilliant in it. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Doon.
Yeah, no arguments from me there. I mean, I think, you know, Greg McHugh is brilliant in it. And like one of my favourite lines is when like Ian and the rest of them sort of turn on Caroline when Beth's giving her a hard time at the end. And he says, "You are a nightmare," to her, you know.
But he delivers so much more than his lines. It's his reactions when, as you say at the end, when Beth's throwing everyone out and she's like, "Get out, all of you." And Tony goes and she has to go, "Not you, Tony."
Yeah.
And he comes back. It's the
Yeah.
the facial expressions that he has and the way he delivers the I'm a bit peck. Or does he say to
He says, I'm absolutely starving.
Ian, like I'm absolutely starving, and then as soon as Beth says, "Are you hungry?" I'm just a bit peckish. It's a natural reaction you would react. I know if I was round at my wife's, my mother-in-law's house, and I'd said to my wife, like, I'm fucking starving, and she said to her mum, like, Nikki's hungry, I'd be like, oh no, I'm just a little bit peckish. It's a total natural reaction of the way you would be. And he delivers it so well. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I genuinely, nearly gave it to him, but I have to give it to Doon.
Yeah.
For her portrayal as Kathy.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think probably, I don't know, like, why they decided not to continue the Caroline character, but I think she's got a bit too much in common with Kathy's character, I think, right?
I think they made the right choice because, as you say, Caroline and Kathy they're a bit too similar,
yeah.
I think. And you can tell there's a little bit of friction there. One of Kathy's first lines when she says, Caroline, let me have a look at you. Oh no, I don't like your hair like that.
Yeah.
That sets the tone for the friendship, and then they have a little bit of friction about not having children.
Yeah.
The characters are too similar. Caroline's almost like a bit of an over-the-top Kathy, but I think they have maybe put some of the elements in that into the Kathy character for the TV show. But yeah, I would say Caroline is not missed in terms of the TV show, and effectively they've replaced her with Christine. And hey, I'd much rather have Christine than Caroline.
She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. Elaine C. Smith in it. I look forward to, obviously we'll cover the sort of TV show proper at some point on a future episode. I'm looking forward to it. Elaine C. Smith has so many good one-liners, as you and I have discussed at length off air. Yeah, I mean, the whole cast are very good. Even like the young boys, like the young guys playing Gordy and Maitland. The two young guys that come in. I mean, they're great as well. You know what I mean? They're like fairly not massive roles and stuff, but they're really good.
Oh no, there's not a single cast member that doesn't deliver here. And as I say, even Kevin Guthrie, who don't agree with what he's done, but I think this is one of his best performances that I've seen him.
Yeah,
he's great. I really believe in terms of when there's a scene when him and Eric are outside in the back garden having a cigarette, and he's explaining how he kind of always felt bullied, and he explains some of the names that he's been called. You really believe, and I mean that is it is a good scene when Ian's effectively pouring his heart out to his dad. Saying that you don't know any gay people, you've never been there, and Eric saying, I know loads of gay people. It's what, at the golf club? Oh no, they wouldn't get into the golf club. He says, no, but I know Pervy Bernie.
Yeah, works in the van.
Guthrie's very good in that, though, I would say.
I mean, Kevin Guthrie, whether his appeal, even if his appeal is successful, he has fucked it. Because if you look at the last few years, what he's been doing. He had the TV show about football, the English Game on Netflix. He's in the second Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film. He's in Dunkirk. He's in the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them as well. Sorry, he's in Dunkirk. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good-looking guy. Probably, if he hadn't fucked it, he would probably have gone on to be quite successful. You know what I mean? If he had, just been an absolute arse of it, he would have probably had quite a big career. As it stands, we'll never see him again, apart from on the news when his appeal comes up,
Sad shame. And as I say, at the time of recording, he is still convicted. We'll wait and see what happens, but just to make that clear. But yeah, a very sad case in terms of what's happened, because he was very good. Okay, right. Well, I guess that concludes Two Doors Down.
Our Hogmanay episode, the last episode of the year, or is it?
Well, no, it is our last episode of the year, Greg. It certainly is, because this will be going out on the 30th of December. So unless you want to cram another quick one in on the 31st, then we can do. Okay, so just like make you aware that Greg and I will be taking a week or so off. So on the 13th of January, which should be our next scheduled episode, do not worry, we will have a news special coming out, which is our best news stories from 2021. Hey, it's one of those episodes that they used to do in Friends and the Golden Girls and stuff, that they would do like a little kind of, The Simpsons, come on, Simpsons, one of the best shows ever. That, you know, they used to do little clip shows. So hey, you know, just download it. You don't want to have to listen to it. In fact, no, listen to it, because it will make you remember some of the funny news stories from the world, from the last year. However, we will be back the following week with our new episode.
Hopefully I'll have shaken off this fucking cough by that point.
Yeah, hopefully you will do, Greg. Yes, hopefully you will do, because it can take a fucking mastermind of me editing to get a cough out of this fucking episodes.
I've been covering my microphone, so hopefully it'll be faint.
So on our first episode of 2022 that we're going to be doing, apart from the news episode, it's my choice, Greg. So shall I tell you what we're going to be looking at?
Please do.
Okay. Well, it is going to be our 40th episode of the Culture Swally, if we include the news episode, which we're going to, because hey, it's an episode. So it's going to be our 40th episode. So I thought, let's do something from 40 years ago. So I have picked from 1982, the Play for Tomorrow episode, The Nuclear Family, starring Jimmy Logan and Gerard Kelly.
Now, I had never even heard of this. I mean, I guess when we did City Lights, I must have seen it on Gerard Kelly's IMDb, but I'd never heard of it. I'm quite looking forward to watching it.
I'll be honest, I'd never heard of it either until I was doing City Lights and I looked at Gerard Kelly's IMDb and I saw The Nuclear Family, and I remember reading it and thinking, that sounds interesting. And then literally this week I was looking at stuff that was 40 years old and this came up.
Right.
And I thought, why not? Let's do it. It's all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Let's do it. The Nuclear Family. And it's Jimmy Logan and Gerard Kelly. Hey, what could be wrong about that?
I'm looking forward to it.
So we'll be doing that on the next episode. Not the next episode. The next episode is the news, Best of the News 2021. But the episode after that, 40th episode, will be The Nuclear Family. Right, well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can. You can follow us on Instagram at Culture Swally Pod, or you can follow us on Twitter at Swally Pod, or hey, you can email us with anything you would like us to review or any news stories that you've seen that you'd like us to cover on cultureswally@gmail.com. And please feel free, as a little New Year treat for us, give us a little rating review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the pod, and tell your friends about this as well. And Greg, website.
There'll be a new website next year. I just haven't had the time to work on it. I'm busy as fuck.
It's okay. It's the festive period, so it's fine, and it's all okay. So we'll get that sorted in the new year. On behalf of Greg and myself, I mean, Greg, you can speak for yourself, actually. I would like to wish all of our listeners a very happy new year and all the best for 2022. Thank you very much for your support over the last year, and I hope you continue listening in the new year. And hey, as I say, if you've got anything you'd like us to review in 2022, then get in touch with us.
Yep. Hopefully, this wave will be on next year of the pandemic. Wave 5, 6, just not going away. Hopefully, we'll get back to some kind of normality in 2022.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Night, Greg. Good luck cooking your steak pie for New Year.
Very happy.
Have a lovely Christmas.
Yep. Very happy New Year. And we'll see you soon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Can't say a very Merry Christmas. This will be out on 30th. See ya. So a very happy New Year to you and your all. And I'll speak to you in the new year.
Okay.
See you in the new year, Greg.
Until next year. See you then.
Pie. 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 Pie.